Testing. Just want to see if you can hear the sound of the heater. Hi guys, and welcome to another video. And this video is going to be about Replaceable. Now, I have lots of people ask me quite a lot of the time about, is security a stable job? Is it something that you can get into and hopefully build a career or build a future, or kind of depend on it as an income? And I think it's an interesting one because security is very big in the UK, because when you kind of think about it in terms of insurances, different things like that, a lot of the time them things can't run without security. So whether that is, let's say there's a concert going on, by insurances they will have to have a certain amount of security at the venue doing security in order for that to go on. And I think a lot of people I've spoken to a lot of people before, and I've said, look, if security decided that they was going to go on strike and everyone across the UK was going to go on strike for, I don't know, wages, people saying, well, the wages are too low, we demand better wages for the job that we do. If security across the whole of the UK went on strike for a week, for a month, let's say, everything would stop, and it would kind of force people in order to have to do stuff, because things like concerts would stop, shows would stop, there'll be things like horse racing would stop. What else would stop? Crime would go up if they know that security is not going to be around. So it is an interesting one in terms of that, because I believe that if you get into security, it is a stable income. Insurances are never going to drop things like security protecting stuff. Insurances are never going to drop that from what they require in order to insure goods, big goods, expensive goods, etc. So in terms of sort of that stuff, security is something that's always going to be around. Now, it's becoming possible that we are replaceable, a bit like machines. So everyone knows a lot of jobs from the past have been overtaken by computers or machines or technology, etc. And it is true that that can happen with security, but there are downfalls to using that technology, etc. For example, CCTV is probably the biggest threat to manned security that I can think of. There may be others, but from what I can think of, CCTV is probably the biggest threat to manned security, i.e. my job. And yes, CCTV records, and everything is recorded, so if anything happens, it gets recorded. With us, obviously, if something happens, if we haven't got body cameras, which you should have, but if you haven't got body cameras, then stuff's not recorded. The police can't watch exactly what happened. It's going off your interpretation of what kind of happened, etc. So CCTV will catch everything. It will obviously be able to be used as evidence and different things like that. It can also obviously alert someone who can call police or key holding company, whatever way it is. But there are downfalls to CCTV, and them downfalls is that if CCTV stopped crime, deterred crime, then London would be a crime-free city, because although the guy from Wandsworth Prison managed to go on the run for whatever it was, 8 days, I can't remember how long it was, but he managed to go on the run for like a week and they didn't know where he was. But yet, if you drive into a yellow box in London, you'll get a fixed penalty notice within a few days. So in London, you can't move around without there being CCTV somewhere. Now, whether that's CCTV from the councils on the streets, whether that's from shops, whether that's from businesses that have their own CCTV, everywhere you go in London, you'll be caught on camera. And it's not a case of, okay, the incident happened in this road, so we just need to look at the CCTV there. They could be able to backtrack you an hour, 2 hours, even like 6 hours back and say, right, that's the guy, that guy's similar to that guy. So CCTV is obviously good for that. But it doesn't deter crime, because like I say, if CCTV did deter crime, London would be crime free. Now, with that, a lot of criminals, etc., will put balaclavas on, they will cover their faces, etc., and just risk that the CCTV won't be able to identify them. Therefore, the police won't be able to identify them later. So CCTV does have its flaws. Now, with man guarding, you can stop someone from getting in to start off with. So, for example, me and the dog are on a site. Now, I'm not saying every site is going to be a dog handler, but for example, me and the dog are on a site. My dog will be able to pick up on someone before they're even in the site, whilst they're walking around the fence on the outside. My dog will be able to pick up on that. Therefore, I'll be able to get into that area before they even get in. Now, obviously, if they do get in, I can then challenge them on what they're doing. Now, you can't do that with CCTV, because even if you have speakers that speak to people, they will just ignore it, because they know whoever's on that speaker isn't going to be approaching them. So then, of course, it's the job of calling the police and getting the police there. Now, with man guarding, you may be able to stop them from getting in straight away. B, you will be able, if they are in, you may be able to disturb them from what they're doing and stop any further crime from going on. So the biggest threat for me, I see, is CCTV to our job, but CCTV has its limits, and its limits are that you can't, once someone is doing something and they know the CCTV is there already, it's very hard to stop them from what they're doing. So in terms of, do I feel like there is, getting into this career is something that in 5-10 years time is going to be stopped through technology, etc.? I don't think it is, because like I say, if you're wanting to keep stuff secure, I still think that man guarding is the best way to go. That's why obviously with police they still have men on the ground, etc., because the best way in order to stop crime is to to be the deterrence to even do it in the area anyway, but also if something does happen, getting men on the ground is the quickest way to disperse what's going on and hopefully stopping what's going on, etc. So getting into this industry is good for a career. Now, are you going to become a millionaire doing what I do? Absolutely not. You're not going to go and earn millions of pounds doing what you do, but it's a job with security, and funnily enough, it's a job with security in terms of, if you're good at this job, you shouldn't be without work. There's lots of companies got lots of different jobs, and like I say, everything that happens with security. If it's a music festival, if it's a music concert, if it's the theatre, all these different things, the insurers will say, okay, well, you need to have, for example, I don't know if this is correct, but for example, if you are throwing a concert that has 10,000 people, the insurance company will say, right, you need to have one security guard per 500 people, and that will be the insurance policy. Therefore, they have to have that in order for it to go ahead. Now, that music concert is worth a lot more money than paying 20 dog handlers, 20 security to be on there. So in terms of, are you ever going to run out of work with security? No, you're not. Are you going to earn millions of pounds being a man on the ground on security? No. If you go further into it and you start employing people and you grow and you build a business, then maybe one day you will. I don't know how much G4S is worth, but I can imagine that G4S, the owners of G4S, have obviously built it up, etc. I don't know the history of G4S, but obviously they are one of the, as far as I'm aware, one of the biggest security companies in the country. I've got a feeling they might even be American. I don't know. I can't even fact check that, but they may even be American. But if you start employing people and you build your business and you own your own company and you've got X amount of security officers working for you, yes, then you can start earning proper money. But are you going to earn proper money being a dog handler on the ground, working 5-6 nights a week, 12-hour, 15-hour shifts? No, you're not. You're going to earn what I believe is a decent wage. So for argument's sake, I work 5 12-hour shifts, and I can earn 37 to 40 grand plus. I can choose to work more, I can choose to work less. Now a lot of people will say, well, yeah, you're working 5 nights a week and you're earning 40 grand. That's not great money. It's not great. You may think that that's not great money, but to a lot of people that is decent money. So in terms of, is it a steady continuous wage? Can you depend on that kind of wage? I believe it is. Now it's up to you whether you feel that, let's say 40 grand is worth getting into this industry, when, okay, you obviously have your training and all that to sort of get into it, but in terms of the running costs of being a security guard, it's not that high. It's not as if you are, let's say you're an electrician, where, I don't know if you have to, but if you're an electrician, you have to buy tools, different tools for different stuff all the time. If you lose an item of a tool, you have to buy a new one. Maybe you have to replace tools quite a lot. So when someone says, well, I'm an electrician and I earn, I don't know, 40 grand as well, and I work during the day, well, the ongoing costs of being an electrician is probably a lot higher than the ongoing costs of being a security guard. So for me, with security, the reason that I've sort of done this video is just to answer a lot of people's questions about is security like a good job to get into. I believe it is. I believe that it's always going to be a job where you're going to be required, because like I say, insurances aren't going to start dropping the requirement of security for events, for looking after certain high price value items, maybe looking after certain sites, etc. And I do feel that CCTV does have its limits. There are plenty of sites that I've seen where they've got CCTV on, but they've still got RAM raided and stuff has still been stolen on it. Yes, it's on camera and obviously they can claim through the insurance, etc. But that obviously puts them back. So, for example, somewhere where CCTV gets RAM raided and stuff is stolen, when the workers turn up the next day, that stuff's not there for them to continue doing their work. So then that puts on more days of the works, etc. So I do think that having man guarding will still have a place in the industry, because like I say, I do think that CCTV does have its limits, and I think with a lot of companies and a lot of sites, etc., they would rather have a man on the ground that can deal with it there and then, rather than relying on the police to turn up to deal with the situation, which could be, I don't know, 5-10 minutes. As a criminal, you can do quite a lot in 5-10 minutes, where if you've got a man on the ground that can be there within 60 seconds, 90 seconds, okay, you can still do a fair bit in 60 seconds, 90 seconds, but it's not 5-10 minutes. So I do feel like this job has got a place in the industry. It's kind of up to you, but if you've got any comments on what you think, obviously put your comments down in the comment section below and let me know what you think is the biggest risk towards security, like man guarding, etc. What do you think the biggest risk to our job is, in terms of, like I've obviously given CCTV as an example. I do think that obviously the standard of security will also impact the future of security, because if, let's for argument's sake, I'll take dog handlers as an example. So if you've got security dog handlers on site but they're leaving dog poo everywhere, they're turning up and they don't look professional, they don't look scruffy, they turn up and their dogs, they get their dogs out and their dogs are scaring staff or whatever it is, or they're just generally untidy around the place, they may start looking at, okay, well, we're just going to get rid of that, we'll get CCTV in and we'll see how that goes. So actually another threat that we have to the industry is obviously the standards that we uphold ourselves. And someone had a go in my comments video that I'd done the other day. Someone turned around to me and saying that I look like I want to be a policeman, when all I had on was my black uniform and a high-vis tack vest. Now, someone like that says, oh, well, you look like you're a wannabe copper. Now, that is what your client is probably going to want. They're going to want someone that looks authoritative, that could be even mistaken as a police officer, because if a criminal mistakes you as a police officer, highly unlikely that they're going to come in anyway. Now, I'm not saying that I try to look like a police officer. I don't dress to try and be a police officer. But if you are mistaken as one, that's not such a bad thing. So actually the standards that we set ourselves, obviously being tidy, because like I say, if you're working on a site and your client is treading in dog poo every now and then, or the big boss turns up and there's a big pile of poo and he obviously points it out, it's not going to take that many strikes before they say, right, get rid of them, get the CCTV in. But also, obviously, as well, if sort of stuff happens, not recording it and not letting the client know of stuff that is going on, they may look at it. And this is one of the stories that, not stories, but one of the things that Terry said to me very early on. He said, like, whatever happens, if anything happens, document it and report it. Because what you'll look at is that you may have, I don't know, 5, 6 people that just trespass through your site, and you go over to them and they go, okay, yeah, sorry, we was just cutting through, and they go out. Now, if you don't document it and report it, they may look at if you have 5 of them in a month, now your client might look at that and say, well, for the last 6 months, absolutely nothing has happened. There is no, what's the point in having these security guards on here? They're not actually doing anything, but you have had 5 people in the last month but just not reported it. So being a decent security guard, reporting, making sure everything gets written down, everything that sort of happens, but also, like I say, just being generally tidy, cleaning up after yourself, maybe even just going that extra little bit further. Like when I first started and I was at the building site job, I would sweep out the little hut that I used. It wasn't all of my mud, but what I would do is I'll just sweep out, make it sure it looks tidy when they turn up the next day. Then they don't mind you using it. They don't mind you being around. So for me, it's sort of CCTV, but also ourselves, not keeping good standards of ourselves, not expecting good standards of security guards that you work alongside, whether that's on the same shift or whether you take over from them. So yeah, they're just my thoughts, and I thought it was something that I just wanted to put out there, obviously to answer some questions of people, but also just have my say of, look, this is a replaceable job in terms of they can get CCTV in to replace you, but if you are a good security guard and you know what you're doing and you're proactive, you are much better than a CCTV system. So if you like this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up, subscribe down below for loads more videos. Like I say, if you've got any comments on what you think our biggest fear is towards our job, or the biggest risk towards our job, put them down in the comment section below. And as for now, I'll see you again next time. Cheers for watching. See you later.